Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with an interesting couple episodes. I won't speak to them both here and now, but the next one that follows, it's just a nice, makes for an interesting double feature, actually, kind of. Maybe Shapes falls at episode 19. Are we just 6 away from the end of season 1? And Ed is gonna feel good to have season 1 under my belt. And by the way, I have started a playlist where I'm going to start tucking all these things in to make it a little bit easier. I know the main list is pretty convoluted when you don't want to dig in that far deep. I get it. But Shapes first drops on April the 1st, 1994. David Nutter directs, written by Marilyn Osborn. A nice little piece of writing, I might say. This is a shape-shifting, sort of a werewolf genre. I don't want to say the word I'm going to say it. Yeah, see, there you go. Werewolf genre. It's late. I'm tired. Anyways, but this is an interesting one. So Mulder gets alerted to this case out in Montana that apparently the rest of the FBI is just not interested in. But he knows something about this, not about this particular case, but he knows of something in this particular area that is a strong connection. And so he has drawn him in to bring Scully along with him to go investigate what might be afoot, pun intended, in this. It's an interesting episode. Really, they go out to Montana, into the forest, or out away, right? And you've got these ranchers who sit. It's really a ongoing property dispute, or the properties sort of overlap maybe, but they're right up against one another. And it's and you have a Native American tribe sitting here, and of course these ranchers right here. And so, the ranchers are very particular to, maintain control over their ranch and their livestock and whatnot. And there has been this ongoing thing back and forth. Well, you have what apparently is an attack on their livestock in the middle of the night. Jim and Lyle Parker. Jim is the dad, Lyle's the son, and they go out to investigate noises. Of course, Jim's got his rifle with him, and when his son seemingly is attacked by something, he unloads the rifle, or shock, I can't remember which is which, but he unloads on the thing, and then within seconds, we have a dead Native American boy lying there. And of course, everyone is just, what? And so enters Mulder and Scully. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So you got Jim and Lyle, who are the ranchers. You've got Good and Snake, who is the one shot, and Gwen, his sister, who plays a part in her. But the really interesting part, well, there's two characters. Charles Tskany, sheriff, who is the sheriff, Tskany, by Michael Hose. I think writing got sloppy. And a character by the name of Ish, who is an elder there, and he has had past experience with this shapeshifter, this creature, and this one of the more interesting elements of the episode is the conversation that Mulder will have with Ish in the presence of Sheriff Tskany. But so you have this boy that is shot, and the family, the Native American family, of course, blames the ranchers for just straight up murdering her brother. But what is happening here is you've got this shape-shifting creature that is tearing things up, and the line between intentional damage and the supernatural, sort of blurs the lines between, that helps incite the hatred between the ranchers and the Native Americans who are right there. Basically, properties are right, nearly on top of each other. And you just got a lot of things going on in here. Sheriff Tskany, as the sheriff, as he tells Mulder and Scully, whatever Native American beliefs he may have, those beliefs stop at the door of his office at the sheriff's department there in town. And the police work goes on inside, but he has to answer to the people. So he is sort of this interesting character that is the sort of bridge, I guess, between the tribe living there and, well, really, in their eyes, the real antagonist here is the FBI, it's the government, right? But it's also these ranchers who they just seem, they cannot get along. And so there's this ongoing antagonism, I guess, that Mulder senses right off. And some of it goes back to the Wounded Knee incident in 1973, which is brought up a couple times. And Tskany even sort of lobs a few, whenever we need the FBI, they're nowhere to be found. But suddenly here you are sticking your nose into a business that really is our business. And so there's a lot going on here. Ish, though, might be one of the more interesting characters. Him and Mulder have this conversation about just the nature of this shape-shifting creature. And he actually makes this really cool comment that he says, you're a strange FBI man. You seem to have more interest in our Native American beliefs than even some of our Native Americans. And that's just shot across the bow at Sheriff Tskany, but who is trying to bridge two worlds and keep things, somewhat peaceful. And so he's sort of got one foot, in the world, so to speak, and in the other foot in, sort of lightly dipping into the pool that is the Native American. His blood, right? And so you got a lot of antagonism just to kind of go around this whole thing. So there's a lot going on here, plus a really super cool werewolf genre, like I guess the legend goes to the Native American legend as the Manitou. And this is part of this conversation, right, that will take place between Mulder and Ish, which is really super cool when he relates a story of an experience he had as a young youth out behind the Watkins family. I guess that's the incident from the 40s, I think it was. Sometime he's relating the story back to the Watkins incident, and of course Mulder's all ears. But you got shedding skin found on site. You've got blood and carnage and mayhem, and you've got an interesting, really cool funeral service that goes on, and of course they've got the boy all wrapped up and up on the fire, and it's just, I don't know, there's just a lot of, I think it's really cool whenever you see an episode that is steeped in something different that you don't see every day, like Native American lore and tradition and some of this stuff, and it just makes for a really interesting episode. I don't know what else to say. It's interesting though. It was really interesting. And there is some sort of cliche moments in terms of not really cliche, but it is interesting when Ish sort of explains how this may be transmitted, the disease or the shape-shifting quality actually is rooted in a spirit that possesses the person, infects the person, and then that person, once they turn into this creature thing, can be transmitted through blood. And so there's this moment where they actually think that Gwen, the sister, might also be a werewolf shape-shifting creature who ultimately goes to the Parker residence to finish the job, I guess. There's attacks on the Parkers. Jim Parker will end up getting killed. And it's just a lot of mayhem back and forth, to the very, very end. When we find out, and I'll leave it here, when we find out someone you're not suspecting may be a shapeshifter. It's sort of, they do a nice job at drawing you off and putting your eye on one character when it's in fact another character, and that's actually pretty cool. But Mulder makes mention to the Scully that this goes back to did I write the year 1946? I think the Watkins family incident was in the 50s. Now that I think about it, but the incident in question in 1946, involving a very similar incident, became the FBI's first X-File. So here we get introduced to the very first X-File, which was under J. Edgar Hoover's administration of the FBI. And it is the first time Mulder says, I want to believe, for the first time, the legendary poster that's up on his wall in his office. And that is really, really super cool, super cool. So anyways, shapes. It was cool revisiting this one. And it's a lot going on, a lot of interesting things. Well written, I thought it was well written. And some really cool effects, actually. Some really cool effects. And that's what we keep talking about, right? In the comment section, some things going back and forth. It's just how surprising it is that this show seemingly is bigger than what it seems it ought to be. What they were able to create over the span of these seasons is nothing just short of just amazing. But anyways, on to Darkness Falls, episode number 20. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to